I'm Christine Deal, and I'm your clinical facilitator for this practicum course, NU 442. So welcome to the course for spring 2023. I'm just going to start, I'm just going to give a quick overview of the course and clarify some of the expectations and just kind of just briefly go over the modules. So my information is here. So here's my cell phone number. You feel free to text me as well, especially on weekends. I don't check my emails as frequently on weekends. So just want to give you permission if you have a question that needs answered and it's a weekend and it needs answered quickly. I won't likely see a email, so you can text me. That's perfectly fine. And here is my email as well. I'm in my 5th year of teaching at LCSC. In addition to this course, I teach the NU 440 and I teach the genetics course and in the nursing leadership course. Prior to coming on board full-time at Lewis Clark State College, I taught for 13 years full-time at the College of Southern Idaho. I have a diverse background in nursing. I consider myself a generalist. I've got 6 years in public health. That included school health nursing. I also have med-surg experience, psychiatric, home health, long-term care. And I do have a previous degree in anthropology that I received in 1990 and then I got my BSN in 1996 and my master's in nursing with a focus in education in 2009 from Idaho State University. So we're just going to go through the modules here. Okay, so we'll start with the syllabus. I'm going to close that. Okay, so these are all the instructors that teach the online practicum of this course. So you will only be responding to me, not responding, but contacting me if you need anything. These other instructors are in different sections, but we all use the same syllabus. Okay, and so I'll let you read through course description and information in general, the outcomes of the course, methods of instruction, topical outline. So, all right, so methods of grading. So the course consists of 90 total hours of clinical experiences. So that includes everything. That includes your disaster preparedness hours, that includes the hours of writing in your journal, that includes the hours that are for your community assessment project, but only 22 hours are for hands-on service learning volunteer work. So don't think, some people get confused and they think that they need 90 hours of service, but no, 90 is just the total for the whole course. However, students must complete all the required components and hours of the course to receive a passing grade. Even though this is a pass-fail course and you need a 73 or above to pass the course, you have to also complete all the components and all the assignments. So you can't, for example, say, well, I've already got a 90% in the course, I'm passing, I'm not going to turn in that literature review because I don't need it for my grade. Well, yes, you do, because you will not pass the course if you don't turn in every component, every assignment that is required for the course. Okay, and then here is just like required hours for each activity and then the point values given to each activity in the course. Okay, so you can just look through that. Look to the syllabus has all the due dates. Okay, so that is where you go to for all your due dates. You've already done this top part because the attendance and the quiz has already been completed. We also have a master activity tracking journal that is due weekly, Sunday by 11:59 p.m. And that is just like a running tally of your hours and what your activities are, just so I can keep track of where you're at in the progression of your activities for this course. And so it's really a great way for you to communicate with me and for me to kind of keep track of what everybody is doing. So it's only worth 1 point, but please keep in mind that that is due weekly on Sunday. In addition, we have a reflective journal, which is due every 2 weeks, starting from the 2 weeks from the first date that is in the syllabus. So, and then we've got specific questions for you to answer in this reflective journal, and it is worth 25 points for each submission. But for example, here are your questions for submission 1, submission 2, 3, and so on. There are 5 reflective journal assignments, and so be sure that you answer all of the questions in all of the submissions thoroughly. And as I mentioned, 22 hours is for service learning. It does not have to be in a medical facility. It can be in a soup kitchen, at a Goodwill, Salvation Army, a church, public library, anything that serves and benefits the community. So training service dogs does not count because that's just not a out in the community thing. So I just wanted to give that. And here's some examples right here: senior center, homeless shelter, soup kitchen. And then some agencies might require their own specific background checks and proofs of immunizations. So you will just follow whatever they require for their volunteers, if they require anything. But before you start, you need to obtain a nursing student photo ID badge. So here are the instructions to do so. And so I would do this right away so you can be ready to start the first day. And so there's instructions for that. And so, and also before you do your service learning, you have to have an agreement form signed. And with that, I need the full name of the agency you're going to be working for. I need a contact person and their title. Like if it's Jane Doe, Director of Services, or volunteer director, blah blah blah, and then the title of the agency, and so and then the full address, including zip code, please, and phone number and email of who of the contact person. Okay, and then I fill that out. You sign it. You have your contact person sign it, and then you upload it to Canvas. So that needs to be done before you start as well. You can bring it with you on the first day and then just upload it. When you get when you're done with that first day. We have a section in this course on self-care, which you will document in your journals. There's a minimum of 8 hours. 2 of the hours are watching a Canvas voiceover presentation on self-care from an instructor who has got a certificate from Stanford in compassion care and self-care. And then the remaining 6 hours can be any activity that is your form of self-care. Whether it's, it could be anything: taking a walk, playing with the dog, painting. So you would just document the 6 remaining hours in that way. Now we hope you take more than 6 hours this whole semester to take care of yourself, but because that's very important. But we only require 6 hours to be documented for this course. And then we'll have 12 hours of emergency preparedness, and 6 of those are for the nurses on the front line, and I see some of you have already completed that, so that's great. The course is all put up ahead of time so people can work ahead, because it's designed for working nurses. And so, if you want to get ahead in something, be my guest. That's what it's for. So if you know what your schedule is, that's kind of a way you can just sort of plan what works best for you and get things completed, get assignments completed ahead of time if your schedule looks like it's going to be kind of rough during the time some things are due. And then the remaining 6 hours, you can opt to do whatever you wish, as long as it fits the disaster preparedness criteria. So here are some examples of that meet that. We do have some online training modules that are listed, and with that comes the quiz that goes with that. Not everybody has to do that. You only do the optional quiz. You'll see optional quiz on Gradebook. You only have to do that if you choose to do the online training modules that we've posted here for you. There are only 4 hours of those, so you still need to do 2 additional hours from that. And then we have the community assessment project. Students typically work independently on the online sections, but you may work in a group of up to 3 in the same section. We are pretty strict on being in the same section because we have allowed crossing over of sections, and it just has created several issues to where we no longer are allowing that. But certainly you can work in a group in the same section. I mean, you have 2 or 3. So there are 36 practicum hours that are involved in this, and that's 36 of the 90 that we talked about in the beginning of the total hours for the course. And here's just some information on that. Choose a community of interest, and there are going to be periodic assignments due throughout the course, and they all are they ultimately is to help culminate in your final paper. When I first started here, we used to just have everything due at the end in a paper, and that didn't quite work that great. So because we couldn't give feedback, and so we were making things are due incrementally, and then we give you feedback, and then you take that feedback and then incorporate that into tuning up your final paper. And so if you submit a literature review, and for example, I give you 11 out of 15 points, don't get bent out of shape over that. That is just, I mean, it's still passing the course. It just means that I just provided some feedback that you will need to use. I mean, I always, even if you get full points, please always look at the feedback, because that's feedback that you'll need to use that will just help make the writing of your paper, your final project paper, that much more less difficult. So that is just a little heads up on that. So it's designed to get feedback and be helpful, so you can put together and guide you towards your final paper. Then we have an online roundtable film discussion. There's a date to vote on one of these films, and then I will post some discussion questions, depending on which film y'all choose as a group. So be sure to vote on what film you'd like. The practicum assessment tool, that is your self-evaluation, and I encourage you to be writing that from the very beginning. And some of our reflective journal questions have to do with addressing one of the criteria on the practicum assessment tool, because it's too overwhelming if you wait to the very end to try to remember how you specifically meet the criteria on that tool. So it's good to kind of keep this as an ongoing document. Late assignments, just please, if you know you're going to be late or something has come up, please let me know ahead of time if you need an extension of the due date. Things happen, we know that. So due dates are due dates, but they're also kind of like guidelines as well. So if something's not working, just keep in communication with me and let me know. After the fact is not a good option. It's best to let me know ahead of time. Okay, so here's an outline of due dates. So print this page and keep it handy, or write it on your own calendar, or however you best organize your dates for everything. But please keep the due dates come up quickly, so make sure you're looking frequently at these due dates. And that is the syllabus. So I'm going to go back to modules. Okay. And we've got introduction, service learning. Okay, these are where you would find your caring for oneself's modules. Okay. And then you would click on these resources, these links. Okay, and so that would be for 2 hours of your self-care. Go back to modules. And then service learning objectives and requirements are found right here. The objectives, how to choose a site, and then obtaining an agency agreement. As I've mentioned, I need all the information before I can send you your agreement form. So full name of contact person with their title, full name of the agency, and address, full address, and then phone number or email, and or email. Okay. Disaster preparedness hours. Here's where you would access your nurses on the front line. Okay, there's a code to get into that. It's prepaid. So there's the information on how to access your nurses on the front line. Okay, and then you would submit your certificate there. Make sure that your certificate has your name on it when you submit it. And here's just some information in case you wanted to volunteer for the Red Cross or the Reserve Corps for your remaining 6 hours. And here are your online training modules. It's optional if you want to choose that for 4 of your remaining 6 hours. And then here's the quiz you would take if you choose that. Not everybody is going to have to do both. It's just if you choose that for your remaining hours. So here is your master's activity tracking journal, reflective journal. Okay, there's 2 different journals to turn in. One's weekly and one's every 2 weeks. Okay, and then you've got a template for that right here. And then here's where you would do your submissions. And remember, on your reflective journals, you need to go back to the syllabus and see what those questions are for that particular reflective journal. Here's community assessment paper guidelines. Okay, so there's activity, and then important items to remember or submit, and then some ideas for staying on track. Okay, so you can read through that. That just has all the components of what will end up being your paper. They're individual assignments that will end up being your completed paper at the end. Sorry to have to go all the way back from the beginning here. So you can see here are these specific assignments, again, that I mentioned culminate in your, that you receive feedback on and then culminate in your final paper. So presentation to the community. Okay, so you will present a plan of your intervention to the community of interest, where that or the agency that serves a community, the community that your focus is on. Okay, so you could do this via PowerPoint, Prezi, poster, brochure, but just because you worked hard on this, and so this is just it's just important to show it to the community members out there, what your proposal is. And before that, there is. Let me just go right over to, I'll go through these modules and then I will talk about the discussion. So there's the film discussion. Okay, and then here's your practicum assessment tool template, and then you would submit that here at the end. And then here are some resources, tips, Healthy People 2030, some stuff, information about Canvas. So now let me go over to discussions. So you would do your round table, there's the vote for film discussion, and then the round table discussion, once it's voted on, will, oh, and this was what was voted on last time. See how this is unpublished. So once you vote on it, then I will post questions. But here's what I wanted to show you, is your presentation of project to peers. So you will present your project to your peers, okay, on the discussion board by April 3rd. And then you will give at least 3 peer responses by April 16th. And so if you are working in a group, in this case, on only one posted PowerPoint is necessary, but please provide all the member names on the presentation. And so you will be giving each other feedback on your presentation. I will give you feedback on your presentation, and then from that, you will either make corrections or adjustments based on feedback, and then you will, after that point, then submit to the community, present to the community. Okay, so you have feedback before you do your before you send it out to your community agency for presentation. All right, so that is, here, let me just show you the template. Okay, and so you would download the tool and you will see that it's got, now fill this out, and then at the end, we both sign it, but everyone's going to meet these criteria in different ways because you're doing different projects and different service learning agencies, volunteer work. And so you would just put examples of how you specifically meet the competencies of the course. So that's why it's a good idea to kind of keep this as a rolling document. Okay, that is it. Thank you so much. And please let me know if you have any questions. And I look forward to working with you this semester.